listening to Polymatic.media, episode 45, August 26th, 2018. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Pretty good. Got a vacation.
Yeah.
A week off work. Awesome.
Yeah. And
Still got plenty of days left.
yeah, I took a bunch of vacation. I finally hit 5 years at work, so I got an extra week, which assembles to a total of 4 if you include the ad hoc days to take off. 3 of those weeks I have to schedule and approve in advance, so I can't really just take them off. Regardless, I took some time off for Otakon because I was at the convention, I was staffing, I was working, and so I ate up 6 days of that, and since then I have spare, and I think I have a total of 6 more days to take before the year's out.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I
don't
even
get
know
extra days because I've worked for the same company for a while.
Yeah.
I do know that it does happen at certain companies. It just doesn't happen at the company I work at. But,
Right. What, that the...
I don't get extra days because I've worked there longer.
Well, I mean, you live in Europe, so Europe, difference with
I see it happen in the other companies too. So it's
right. But what I was going to say is, I thought most European companies give predominantly way more vacation up front, and they make you guys take half a month to a month off at a time, like it's forced vacation.
No.
Is that not the fact anymore?
Nope. Never was.
Because I worked at an international company, and that was very much the case. That when people took vacation, they took almost all their vacation near or
no.
all
That's
at
mostly
once.
for people. Mostly people who have kids. They have to take their vacation in during the summer because they have to deal with the summer vacations for schools.
Okay.
So that's what they do. But I don't think there is a mandatory you have to take this day off. No, not as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't live there. I don't work for a European company, so I don't have any real legitimate context to it.
And we get I think we get about basic 24 days a year. 24
days a year. Okay, so that multiplied by 8 is what would be the equivalency of whatever we get. Or whatever. I mean, in most cases, most full-time companies in the U.S. will give you 2 weeks, and then so
24 is not multiplied by 8.
24 hours?
No, 24 days.
24 days. Right. So multiplied by 8 hours. They always think of it in hours here in the U.S. They don't think of it as the legitimate days. They advertise it as dates, but they slice it up by the hour, or by the half hour, or even by the 5 minutes, depending on the company that you work for. So about 320 hours, basically, more or less. My brain just went there. That's all wrong. 160, then another 24, 144 hours.
192. 192.
192. Okay, you ran to a calculator or something. My brain just can't process right now. So anyhow, regardless of that, 192, and I think mine's that basically at 120 something, right? So, no, I guess, yeah. So this is where in the U.S., companies getting sneaky say, oh yeah, we give you 2 weeks. No, what they do is sometimes you find out that 2 weeks translates to, oh, well, we give everybody we give your level of, your whatever your tier of higher, wherever you work, you're at the highest level. So what we do is give you 40 hours of flexible hours, and then we give you 40 hours of, vacation time. And I work for a company where it didn't matter who you were when you were new. If you weren't at a higher level, what they did is they gave you basically 3 days of vacation, and then they give you the 40 hours of flexible time, and that was it. And for me, it was those 40 hours plus you know, so they average, and then 2 weeks. So they would advertise it as 3 weeks, but it's not really 3 weeks. It's the 2 weeks. And then it's it's the rest of that flexible time that they basically give to most of the rest of the company for full-time employees. And that's almost not different in most of the companies that I've worked at. There's only one company that gave me 3 weeks up front plus that extra flexible flexible 40 hours of, flex time. And then there was one company that was amazing with vacation, which was they didn't have a vacation policy. The way they worked it out is you take off the time so that you don't get burned out, because they only hired people that were mid to senior level, experience. So the flex time was basically the whole time, as long as it wasn't in conflict, and your manager was cool with it. They just take off the time you needed. You need to take a doctor's appointment that day. Go take care of yourself. Come back.
Yeah.
Because they knew that we were putting high average hours in anyways, and so they just didn't have a vacation policy. So they would advertise it as like 2 weeks right up front, but the reality was that the thinking was, look, we don't have a vacation policy, but if you take too much vacation, you can take a permanent one. And that was basically the end of the story about it. And that was the best place to work, where I was working my butt off all the time, but I didn't have to stress over when I needed to take care of something, Yeah. And I could also work from home. That was the other advantage. So it was abundant in all
So you
all
basically had a
directions.
permanent vacation. So you had a permanent vacation.
Well, eventually I got laid off. Where times were tough for a moment. That was sad, So, but one of the few times I got laid off in my 20 plus years of working. So, nonetheless, vacation time. So, what did you do with it?
Oh, I haven't started yet. I actually started today.
Oh,
well,
really?
I had 2 days this week, but
So in 2 weeks,
it kind of resulted in me doing stuff for work anyway. But I'm gonna try to stay away this week somewhat.
Yeah, that was the thing I did when I went to Otakon. I did not bring my work laptop, even though my boss gave me some looks at me. I'm like, no, and I looked at him like, no, I'm not. He barely started to say that. I was like, I am not. You guys can survive without me. It's okay.
I don't want it to get stolen. Good excuse,
yeah.
by the way.
Well, but no, I remember the one year we launched a product. This had been, I guess this was 2016, and he was like, no, I need you to finish this or that or this or that. It's like they launched a thing and it was very all unrealistic. I probably worked, I don't know, 40, 50 hours in that weekend, and then I did another 20 for work while I was away. Yeah, it's just not fun stuff. Sometimes businesses ask a lot.
Yep.
So what do you have on plan?
What do I have planned?
Yeah.
Well, for one, I want to work on my next art book. I've got some 3D printing to do. Lots of 3D printing to do, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Printing a Infinity Gauntlet for a colleague's kid. So I'm doing that. I was hoping on getting the Ender 3 3D printer, but somebody messed up and that kind of got, it got canceled.
So. Oh. Okay.
So that
well,
sucks.
When I was at Otakon, this guy, John Price, is a fellow staffer of the same department. He also is pseudo-local to here, and we had him on OG when we talked about Otakon. And so he is totally into 3D printing. And so he had a 3D printer that he bought that he was driving off a Raspberry Pi. And he brought the whole contraption to Otakon in the department lounge. And since a lot of people come in and out, and we deal with volunteers that volunteer for Otakon to help out because there's just lots of people who want to help out.
Mm-hmm.
He was putting these little Eevees and Totoros and little 3D printed models all over the one, so people were coming in to register and stuff for their shifts. They're like, "Oh, Eevee!" And then we were like, "Do you want one?" And they're like, "I can have it." And we gave it to him because he was printing an abundant amount of them out to give to people, and he couldn't print them out fast enough. And he was literally printing 3 Pikachus at once. So
I did a point where I was putting Pokeballs in the neighborhood, like a place where Pokestops were, like putting like 3 printed Pokeballs with
Pokecash balls.
Yeah, you have one, I think.
Yeah.
With like a little Pokemon in it.
Yeah, I got it.
I left them at the
Yeah, sorry.
But yours is filled with replicators.
So I handed that to John, and
Pokemon.
I said, "Hey, my buddy John's really," and he sent me this, and he pops that thing open, and he's like, "Oh," and then he's looking at the thing, he's like, "Oh." Only nerds would get it.
Who?
He was looking at the Pokeball.
Who did you show it to?
Because he was here for that one recording, and then he was looking at the. His name is John.
Oh, okay.
I'll refer to him as Jonathan. And so he was looking at it, and he was like, he popped it open. He's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then he popped it open, and he saw what was inside. So
nerds. Anyway,
yes.
So
Exactly.
I got a vacation, lots of free time. I hope. I already finished the Battle for Azeroth thing, the expansion for WoW.
Yeah.
So I got level 120. So that was fun. Yeah, until it wasn't. But then, such is life. Too much WoW.
How long are you on vacay?
For a week, I guess.
Only a week?
Well, I only took a week. I still got lots of time off left. But I want to take it to next year. My plan is to take like 4 or 5 days to next year. And then I can use that next year to take that in the first half year. Because I have to finish the days I take over to next year within the first 6 months. So I have to do it the first 6 months. Then I can just use up those days in the first 6 months. And then I have 26 or 27 days for the rest of the year. So then I'm going to take a very, very long vacation next year.
Yeah, that I apparently can only roll over a week of unused time.
I can roll over 10 days if I want to.
Yeah. And then I have to use it apparently in the first fiscal quarter. That was like brand new news to us, except they didn't tell us, "Oh yeah, if you don't use it by March, by end of March, it's gone." I was like, when did they tell us that?
Oh.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Interesting. I think it's real healthy for me, at least, given like the density of what I do all the time at work. To take, if I had enough time, I have enough time that I could take 1 day off every single month and still have a little bit of time left over. But I totally understand the concept of wanting to take every 2 weeks a day off. Every 2 weeks just take your Wednesday, take a Friday off or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because I think if you have sort of an intense job, and you're sort of it could be you have a lot of as we refer to as technical debt. What ends up happening is that the value add right there is you should probably take a whole day of siesta every once in a while.
Yeah.
Just because you need that break and you need that sort of decompression. You need time back for yourself. That isn't work. Yeah.
So I got a phone call. So something funny happened. So during the week, I got a phone call from my telecom provider, and I already got a text message saying, "Hey, we're gonna call you this week from an unknown number. We're gonna have an offer for you, blah blah stuff." And I was like, "Okay, fine." I complained about that on Twitter. So I told him, "Yeah, go fork yourself." And then they called me, and I was like, "Yeah, no." And I canceled. No, I didn't cancel, but I switched over to a SIM only carrier thing. I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna get the phone that I want because I want a Pixel 3.
Right. Me too.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So I just switched to the most cheap plan I could get with 1 gig of bandwidth. That's it. That's all I wanted. That's what I use now. I'd never use it.
And then that's kind of all you need anyways.
I hop from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi, so I don't really need it.
Yeah, me too. My plan is actually incredibly low, and my end result is I barely even push over a gig. And I was at Otakon about in the middle of the billing cycle. The billing cycle rolled over just brand new, I think, while I was just in town for Otakon. So I looked at it last night, and it wasn't more than it's under a gig right now. So my data usage historically hasn't been larger than a gig and a half at best.
Yeah.
So most of these plans cover me fine because I'm always near Wi-Fi.
Except when your phone doesn't work.
Yeah, when my phone is broken.
What did you do, Alan? Did you drop it in the toilet?
No, I did not do anything like that. Though you bring that up, and it gives me flashbacks of people doing that to my stuff. Oh, could I borrow that CD? Oh, well, I dropped. Anyhow, so without getting into that, because that's a tangent no one needs to ever know about. So Thursday morning, I'm rolling out the door, and I put my phone down somewhere. And I have my sort of stack of stuff I'm grabbing before I go run off to work, get in the car, go to work. So, as it turns out, I grabbed sort of one of my messenger bags, more or less, that I put water and whatever in it, just things that I take to work for the day. And all of a sudden, I hear my phone go on the kitchen floor. Now, since I've had the phone, which is about 19 months, because getting the Pixel 1 was difficult, right? You couldn't get it immediately.
Yeah.
They're very hard to fulfill an unlocked version of the phone, not a, attached to a carrier.
The Tesla of the phone world, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, at least at that time. And so I didn't get it until February 2017. And I know this number because I was looking at my accounts and orders recently. And so I finally got in 2017, top of the year, more or less. And I had probably dropped the phone maybe a couple times. And I had dropped it where it, kind of angled itself. And I have a case on it, and the case is, it's always been fine. The only reason I went through a second case is because the way the case sort of gripped around the Pixel 1 is it sort of had this metallic band around it, and that could, if you were to kind of push on it wrong, could snap on its own. But the case was perfectly fine, and I picked up my phone, and it was working. I was able to sign into it, and everything was good, golden, looked fine. Got to work. Went to go put it on its stand and let it charge. And it wouldn't charge. I was like, okay, maybe it's the cable. Maybe it's the power. So I tried all the things. Nope. I tried other phones.
You remembered you dropped it.
And then I looked at it and I popped it out of the case. And I saw that the screen was bulging just a little bit. Just, given that how general the thinness of these phones, just a millimeter or even 2, was about, you could see it sort of bulge from the center out, and clearly the connector had been disconnected. So I was like, and there was nothing wrong with my phone. It was great. It was perfect shape. Even with Android Pie, 9.0, it was even faster. It was fantastic. It was doing well. And I was like, all right, October, they're going to make the announcement. Maybe I can get in the pre-order list because they usually, given that I'm an existing Pixel person, they're going to give us like 2-week notice or something. This is kind of what Google does when you buy directly from them.
Yeah.
And you get a very like an hour before short window to put your pre-order in, or the moment of the launch or whatever, to keep you updated, because they want you to continue to renew. So great, fantastic. I figured, all right, that will be my plan, and I will be like a hawk watching out, and then I'll get the Pixel 3. I'll go from the 1 to the 3. But no. So I just was like, well, I kind of need a phone, because now there's lots of stuff that's connected only through the phone. Like given Allo, for example. You and I communicate through Allo. And you don't have a phone, it's no worky. So
it definitely doesn't work.
Nope, and not even through the web client because the proxy's through the phone. So the short end of this is that morning I had the cash and I literally just unlocked from the Google Play Store. I just bought right from them, and I said just send it to me right away. And I got it last night when I got home. It arrived somewhere around 2 o'clock. I wasn't home. So last night was the fun effort of kind of reconnecting my phone and bringing things over. And surprisingly, that was pretty straightforward. It was just installing all the apps.
Did you put your phone in low power mode?
I did not, but my old phone still works, and it has about 22% power on it. I need to do one thing on it that I'll sort out today, and then on this phone, once I reconnect up a few more accounts for some apps, I just need I copy music over here locally, so that I can I can listen offline, so that I'm not streaming everywhere. Plus, there's like an artist like Orla that I follow, and most of her music that's current is only available on Patreon, so it's basically available offline if you download it. It's not available on Spotify or on YouTube, though she's got a bunch of stuff that you can listen to on YouTube, and certainly you can't use streaming services to listen to her all her demos, and she's got a lot of them. If I was to look, demos alone, not including any covers and any kind of other stuff she did in the past, there's a good 50 of them easily. She's given us at least one a month, and for some of us, maybe 2 or 3 a month. And she's doing gigs, and she's going on tour with friends on occasion. So she's busy, and so that kind of stuff fits very in my model of keeping a local copy offline. Yeah. And so I was trying to do that last night, and then it got to 2 a.m. and I was like, I gotta go to sleep. This can continue in the morning.
Why didn't you upload it to Dropbox or something?
I do. I have it uploaded to Dropbox. Okay. But I didn't, I thought about, I tried to synchronize a whole folder, and it wouldn't let me export a whole folder from the app on the phone. So you can go into the folder and pick all the things and just keep, but there's a lot of folders.
You can let Dropbox just upload one folder. If you go from the other way around, so if you don't go from the app to something else, you go from Dropbox to
make it sync the one way.
Select everything you want to upload.
Yeah, I should look at it that way. But
most of the time, turn on low power mode first.
Right.
Because otherwise you're not going to be able to charge it anymore.
Well, no, but I mean, I have all that stuff in Dropbox on my local PC. So, I didn't lose a copy of all my music.
Oh, okay.
That's in good shape. In fact, every time I turn on a system around here, they're all connected through Dropbox. So they all have the synchronized version of the files.
That can be bad too.
It can be, but in the same respect, I can air gap. I can disconnect any of them from the network, right, before login. And then,
but it's a good way to see what's all connected to your phone once in a while. Just turn off the phone and see what happens.
Yeah. So regardless of that, I have the Pixel 2 now XL, and I do like it. It's a nice phone. The case I should have in a day or two. I just got to make sure I don't bent the thing up.
Don't drop it.
Don't drop it. I think my
is it
Imagine
waterproof?
Pla-
Because now the next thing you're gonna do is dunk it into the toilet or something.
Is it? I don't recall the specs because I kind of.
That was a question. It wasn't,
I
it was
don't
a
know,
statement.
but the last one wasn't, and I won't. I'm generally pretty careful
You're not
about
gonna
that
test
stuff. My phone was in good shape up to the moment of Thursday morning.
Yeah.
So
all my phones have like this little rubber outside cover thing that I can. It's like hard rubber that you can just.
right, yeah, and I ordered a case like that.
So
It's coming.
I have an OtterBox for my iPhone, and I have I don't know what the brand for the other one is. I think it was also a brand thingy. There's a little logo on it, but those things are great. They're clear rubber plastic thingy. It works great.
Yeah,
I've dropped my phone so many times.
I never liked the OtterBox because I thought they were they added too
Clunky.
much bulk.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
just I
Definitely.
just didn't like that.
It's like,
And it's weird
but then,
because
then you take your phone out of the case and it feels like a new phone, which is great.
yeah, so this phone is so thin, and my other phone was reasonably thin. It wasn't like paper thin like they're making them today, but this is a really sturdy thin phone, and so yeah. See, Spigen is the one that is the brand that I typically buy from. So I got an armored case like the one that you're flashing at me.
Yeah.
So I but I bought another one for this phone. So well, I'll pop that in there, and yeah. The thing I haven't tried on it because I've only had it for not even 24 hours. I haven't tried the camera because I hear the camera's amazing in this thing. So I've not tried that.
But does it have a headphone jack?
It does not have a headphone jack, but most of the ways that I listen to music,
Bluetooth anyway. Bluetooth anyway.
Yeah, it's Bluetooth anyway. It did come with a USB to headphone jack adapter, and I put that in my jacket. Right,
You got a dongle.
I got a dongle, but it doesn't piss me off whatsoever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Though I think the rumors is the Pixel 3 includes a notch and I believe it brings a headphone jack back and wireless charging.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
It doesn't.
Oh.
No.
I know it has wireless charging.
It has wireless charging, just no headphone jack.
Yeah. So,
because they take away the headphone jack to get the edge-to-edge crap
and the waterproofing
going.
seal.
Hmm?
And the sealing of the waterproof seal.
No, you can do that with the headphone jack too.
Yeah, I know that.
I mean,
that's happening.
this is the Galaxy S7. It has a headphone jack, right? And it is waterproof, so
yeah,
you can do that.
I have the for work. I have the 7 Edge. Right.
Yeah, same thing here. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a reasonably nice phone, and that's way outdated, right?
I flipping hate it. I think it should
I know you
die in
hated
a
it.
fire.
I never. The only things I don't like about these phones is so before, and I still might do it, but I used to use the window manager replacement of something called Buzz Launcher, which is free, and it really is configurable. Lets you do a lot of nice things, with your phone. And it's obviously it's a window manager that sits on top of everything.
What I think they should do is they should make phones. And that would be a great phone with a camera on it. It's great. It has a headphone jack or whatever. If it's just Bluetooth, that's fine too.
Yeah.
And they should just make the phone and leave the OS to the people that make OSs.
Right. And
not try to smear all the crap on top of it.
Right. And the thing about with the Samsung phones, they're really well built, and now they all include a Bixby button, which you can't do anything with, and is kind of annoying apparently. Aside from that, they have all that OS junk all over it,
Yep.
and I don't. That's the part that I don't like.
Yeah.
In some cases, they added some stuff to their OS that Android eventually got after the fact. So some good ideas get into
Yeah. There's
some of the manufacturer's
Knox thing that
software
they did.
before Google absorbs them. But in the same respect, it's exactly that. It's like, don't give me all your touch whizzies. I don't need a Samsung Pass on top of a Samsung other thing and another Samsung backup thing on top. Let Google just do that, because that's what Google. It's their, So in this case, I didn't install Buzz Launcher, and I'm trying to stay stock Android. And while it is not as configurable as Buzz Launcher, or as I hear like Nova or some of the other ones are, it's fine. I'm gonna try to be as minimal as much as possible on this thing. I don't love it as much, and it's not as highly configurable, but it I can survive on it. It's not the end of the world.
I just wish that there was like a phone manufacturer that would just go, okay, so there's a phone, and then there's the OS, and the OS you can choose.
Right.
They can have the just stock Android. I want to have a Linux phone, or I have a.
If that was the case, then I would have bought the Galaxy Note 9 with stock Android.
Because the hardware is good. I love the hardware.
Yeah,
it's just
hardware from them is amazing.
Is annoying.
It's the TouchWiz stuff, which is always why I want to.
Which is another way, the word that they use is kind of like a sign, right? TouchWiz. It sounds disgusting.
Yeah. So, not great, but yeah, no, Samsung makes really, really awesome hardware, and HTC does a good job too. I mean, the Pixel 2 is made by HTC, at least the XL.
I don't think you can buy the Pixel right now in the Netherlands.
Yeah, so I have a protection plan, and I haven't called up Google and said, hey, or make a claim or do any of that stuff yet on the old phone. So, given they're probably less likely for me to give me a refurbished Pixel XL, they're probably more likely to give me a refurbished Pixel XL 2. But I don't know. Regardless, it'll be a spare phone. So if I get a new, repaired, fresh phone from that experience, because I bought this out of pocket, the one I'm holding right now, then, as a direct result of that is the turnaround should be that I'll have an extra spare device, and I'm likely to give it away to somebody in my family. I'll probably, especially with the Pixel XL 2s, or the Pixel 2s have an eSIM feature, which is a new thing that's happening. So you can you can attach them to things, and you don't need a physical SIM anymore in them.
I'm considering just buying the phone, the Pixel XL3, if it ever comes out here. I know there's some places where you can buy it, but I don't want to get into trouble. Like I don't want to buy it and then suddenly get all my Android, all my Gmail addresses are constantly blocked by Google because they got pissed off about something.
Yeah. So so anyhow, that's what happened to me, and that that put a huge dent in my Tesla deposit.
Dope.
But I think I can recover that with as long as nothing crazy happens in September. I should be able to recover that with some buffer, by the end of September, and then I'll put some money down on a Tesla. I'm also kind of being impatiently waiting to make sure the credit rating just keeps going, the credit score goes up, so that when I get to loan time, after I give them $2,500, and so I hesitate, I make that noise, but $2,500 on a car is like nothing, because here in the U.S. you could buy a used car or even like a brand new gas vehicle. Even if you bought a $20,000 vehicle, they're like, yeah, okay, so you're gonna put $6,000, $8,000 down on this vehicle, like they're bastards about it here for just normal vehicles. So $2,500 is like is a drop in the pool.
But it's like the initial deposit, right? You have to do another one.
Yeah, that's the initial deposit, and then you got the loan. That's it. That's all. That's it.
Hmm.
That's the gateway right there. They're not asking for more money up front, as far as I'm aware. That's your deposit, and then you gotta, see what your credit rating is and stuff like that through the loan. So with luck, it'll be real simple, and I'll get a low rate, and then until the car delivers, as far as I understand it, the loan doesn't start. Right, it starts then.
Okay. Well,
At that moment. So regardless, that's why having some extra buffer is probably good, and then I can sort myself out with insurance, and find someone who'll start the policy as soon as I get the car, and then I probably going to save a little bit of cash and buy or figure out a situation with a charging station, and either see if I can get my local neighborhood to. Oh, sorry, my phone's making noise. I have
so
to
you get
learn
me,
how
you
to
get a
turn
new
crap
phone.
off.
That's what you get me. You get a new phone.
Yeah, this is what happens. It makes noise. Stop doing it.
I've been looking at the new Huawei, the P20.
Yeah.
I've heard some good things about that. I know that there's some bad stuff about it, which is like one of the things. Like it's not really done, per se. That's kind of the thing.
Is this the one with the whole scandal about it?
Is there a scandal at the Huawei P20?
Well, I don't know. I know they got caught or something with.
Oh, with the camera. Yeah.
That's what I heard. I don't really know the details.
I saw what's his face.
Lou was talking about it.
Yeah.
But I pretty sure I thought I saw some of the other tech reviewer people that I follow also talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been sort of in my mode of, like, with something that we don't need to talk about on mic, but if you follow me on Twitter, the very least you have some awareness, or you follow us on OG, have some awareness what happened. But that was news to me last night while I was sort of, sort of getting through setting up my phone. And I don't have one account. I have multiple accounts and multiple emails for multiple things to sort of, handle each of those operations independently from each other. So, yeah, I don't know. So, I lost my train of thought regarding that.
So you were talking about your Tesla to be.
Yeah, well, it's not to be until I put a deposit down and they say, yeah, we like you and your credit score, and yes, we want your money.
Monies.
Yeah, and then I know what the footprint of that, and then it shows up, and then I have a loan. Then it's my Tesla to be. So, with that said, that is my plan, and so I was. Put money, just sort of a little bit of money here and there on the side. And it was also sort of the emergency fund in case something happens. Well, it turned out on Thursday morning something happened. And it's not like I felt a little naked.
Couldn't you have gotten a really cheap Android phone?
I could have.
A Motorola or something.
But I know what for work, I listen to music on this thing. This is sort of my Walkman. And again, sort of in offline mode, right? And it's the way people communicate with me that they don't have any other way of getting a hold of me in the middle of the day, right? I don't listen to I go into the voicemail for the house line and I delete all the voicemail. And oh, by the way, how do I access that when I'm away? Oh, through my phone. I control the house through my phone. My entertainment, I stream to the Chromecast.
From your phone?
From my phone. Now, I was totally fine. I could survive completely okay for a day and a half, no problem. But I felt a little naked, a little weird because I'm just the conduit of access to things are right there through my phone. And so it was a little out of balance, and so I didn't. I turned on this new phone, and a flood of text messages came in, and then voicemail about something that happened that sequestered most of my evening last night, aside from setting up my phone. So the timing on these things is that the accessibility of the device that I ignore and that I just keep charged and that I don't pay attention to, aside from changing the podcast or the music that I listen to from it, outside of that very thing with this phone, it's sort of like a doorway into a whole world of accessibility that's convenient. And so then, that was sort of, I was a little off balance. But I wasn't like...
There's a disturbance in the force.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, I wasn't dramatically... I know some people are like, oh my God, like they're freaking out. Nope, I was fine. And I mean, thankfully I had a little bit of money sitting around to go drop money immediately for another flagship phone, and have it delivered to me within a reasonable amount of time considering.
I dropped my Nexus 5 a couple of years ago, and it had a crack in the screen. It was charging fine. There was nothing wrong with it. Just a crack in the screen, right?
Yeah.
There were no dead pixels or anything. It was just the screen had a crack in it. And I didn't want to get shards of glass in my fingers because I use these fingers to type and to draw. So I don't want to get that to happen. So I bought a new phone. I bought the cheapest phone I could get, like the Motorola something or other. It's like a really cheap phone. It was great. It's surprising how good that experience was. And I think that people overestimate the greatness of the flagship phones. But the there's a new one. I think there's a Nokia which has like an Android 1 build on it, which is like also close, right? Nokia phone with Android.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that after they got bought by Microsoft?
Yeah, and that whole situation didn't work out for them positively because they didn't deliver. And I think I don't know what was going on there. It was not good. But
there's a Nokia called the Nokia 7 Plus, which has Android 1 on it, which is the for the cheaper phones for like India, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
This has like the more lean Android version, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics. I haven't been keeping up with Android in a while.
Yeah, I will tell you this is a well-built phone and everything is great about it. And the other go-to reason is the camera. And while the pictures on the Pixel XL were reasonably okay, I've never when you zoom in and you look at the noise or whatever it is, and apparently this has an amazing camera on it, and that would have been great if I had something like this when I was at Otakon. It would have served me much better with the footage I took. So I think that's an extra advantage of having this kind of phone. But my plan is to maybe do a trade-in. This is also an unlocked phone, so I'm not carrier attached or aligned, and so that was another reason. There are Pixel phones, and there are some non-Pixel phones like Motorola phones. You can get Moto Gs or whatever it is on Project Fi and from Google directly. So I could have done something a lot cheaper, but I thought, I went from one flagship phone. I want something with the storage because I put at least 30 gigs of music on the thing, physically on the thing. And if I do take some video, and more likelihood, even in a few months, I will probably do more with this camera than I did in that 18 months of the other phone, because of its quality and its capability. But with that being said, I did use all that space, right? This phone I was starting to move music on it. It's 41% filled already.
I have a 64 gig SD card in my Samsung Galaxy S7. But I haven't even filled up the phone itself because I don't use it as a media device, right? So I have my iPhone for that because I really like the audio that comes out of that.
Yeah.
And there's like a, I don't know what it is with the Android, but there's usually some audio stutter sound when I start playing audio on any Android phone I've had so far. So, and it's still here on the S7.
I never had that problem with this or the Pixel. And
It's even worse on Bluetooth for some reason.
yeah, no, my experience with, especially because I talk highly about the Jaybird X3s,
Mm-hmm.
even the Run is also really good when I comparatively to other things. Um, but I get real great distance at work.
Mm.
I could be easily a good 300 feet away from my desk with the Jaybird X3s, and I'm coming back from.
Have you tried it
Uh,
with your new phone yet?
I did. I set it up like for a moment last night, but I haven't
Okay.
been at work with this phone
Yeah.
combo, so I haven't really
Just,
tested.
just go onto the street, just walk and keep walking till you don't hear anything anymore.
Well, so at work, my desk is from the stairway and the employee
Yeah.
lobby entrance is probably a good 1,000 feet easily. And so there have been days where I'm stopping off the bathroom or I'm going to the cafeteria to get some coffee or something, in the morning. And so I walk away from my desk and I might still have the X3s plugged in because I just haven't popped them out of my ear. Um, and so I'm walking away and I hear two things because they're doubly connected to my laptop and my phone.
Yeah.
And so the way where I work in the lower half of the building, this was an extension to the building, and this is also where they had one of their first server rooms. So I'm walking past the server room, which has got to be a good 800 feet away from my desk, and I hear headphones connected, and I know that's attaching to the
Yeah.
laptop. And then I walk maybe an extra 100 feet away from there, and then I hear headphones connected, and that is through the sort of this hallway that clearly has a lot of pipes around it because on the right hand side or left hand side of it, depending on the direction you're coming from, is where all the bathrooms are, like the water fountain and men
Yeah.
and women's bathrooms, restrooms. So when I get through that, I always hear it, and it's well beyond the specifications of Bluetooth range, and they are just amazing. And then I can just tap it. So if I have, let's say, Bluetooth turned off on my, my PC, and I hear headphones connected, and I tap it to continue playing wherever it was last, it'll resume.
Yeah. You just
So
don't know which one it's connected to.
right, and so you never know who gets into that dominant party.
Mm.
And so I'll literally walk away, come right back. I will be within 5 feet of my desk, and I will tap to resume the music, and it'll just start kicking back in,
Yeah.
or a podcast or whatever it might be. So my experience has been amazing with the Pixel XL, and even the previous phone that I had was pretty good. It wasn't as good, but when you have I think when you have the right kind of Bluetooth technology and headphones connected, you if you get near flagship level, you'll get a flagship experience out of it.
Mm.
And I was just like, I swear, I just walked over 300 feet away from oh my God, I'm still listening to this music with no skipping or stream. It's just completely strong.
My apartment is filled with walls that has some metal in it.
Yeah.
So when I can use my Jaybirds while it's playing in my office. I can walk to the other side of the apartment to my making room, and then suddenly it cuts out, and then it goes back, and then it cuts back out, and then it comes back, and then it cuts back out. Just at that edge.
Yeah, that I have that same experience, because of where I sit upstairs, and where the kitchen is. You walk down the hallway, it works fine. But then as soon as I diagonally cross-cut where I keep my phone, and the signal has to now make itself through a wall where all the plumbing is coming up and down for the kitchen and into the basement, and also cross-cut through the microwave, and through the toaster, and through a refrigerator, and all that infrastructure, and a dishwasher, and a metal sink, like all the plumbing. Yeah, it totally kicks out until it gets to the sort of the kitchen and living room opening in the wall, and then it reconnects. But yeah, no, I mean, given my story of 1,000 feet, it also gets thwarted very easily with signal blocking, uh, you know, obstacles all the time,
Yeah.
right? So it's not perfect, but it's still a pretty good experience. So I suspect I won't have any worse of an experience with this phone.
Yeah.
So I think that's the highlight, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll
Alan, you
find out.
talk too much.
I know.
Yeah. Well, we Dutch are very brutally honest. So, Alan, you talk too much. You complain too much.
I don't know. I thought I was giving a good sell there for the Bluetooth. I think it can work out, right? If you get the right combo. Headphone jack for me is probably not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
It hadn't been before.
Yep. Well, we've got some links, I think.
Okay.
So the first one, the Dutch people, they're brutally honest. Polymatic link / I think it's L9, sorry. Polymatic link / L9. And it's an article about how brutally honest the Dutch people really are.
I've not read or watched this yet.
You should. It's very recognizable to me. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. That tells me a lot about you, John. That was L9, right? Polymatic.
L9, yeah. Also,
L9.
all the links you can find on Polymatic link / show 45. So it's Polymatic link / show 45.
Okay, so this is a video about how Toyota changed the way we do things, we make things. Polymatic.link / LL. Is that LL or L1?
Yep, LL.
Okay, LL. Enough that even in the 80s this was sort of recognized, and it's actually a lot of, you work in development or you work in project management or anything, a lot of their techniques have made their way directly into your corporate life even. They even made a movie with Michael Keaton back in, the 80s or early 90s, I think, called Gung Ho, maybe? I think that's what it was called. This is about Michael Keaton in a film where he is working in a automotive plant, taken over by a Japanese, a Japanese manufacturer, Toyota, and this was a very sore point at that time where Detroit, Michigan, that area was basically starting to fail. All the automotive industry was predominant there in the world and in the U.S. definitely, and it was sort of falling apart because now other foreign interests were coming in and changing the way local towns operated, or they didn't, the whole thing. So good movie, very old at this point, very much a telling about Toyota, unofficially. So Polymatic.link / LL, if you're curious, if you just want to know why and how they affected your livelihood much more than you realize.
Okay, next one is, this guy has too much Lego. Polymatic.link / LA.
Okay, so I definitely have to watch it.
That's just way too much Legos. Way too much Legos.
So Imogen Heap is an artist. I like her music. My introduction to her was with I call it Frau, but I think it's Frou.
Yeah.
And I really like that album. And it was a one-time thing because the person that she produced it with, they didn't get along very well. Nevertheless, they delivered a pretty amazing album. And then she just kind of went back to being solo forever. But she's sort of getting into VR and performance art. And here's a video about her and the Wave VR and sort of how she's bringing that to the front of things. Polymatic.link / LM, as in Mary.
Okay. Yeah, I watched that. I had thoughts about that.
And I'd seen videos before about her with this technology that she was sort of working on quietly. Like when she disappears and doesn't put out an album, it's because she's doing something new. She's sort of like an artist who wants to I don't know, utilize tech or something. It's a little weird, but I don't know. There's going to be a generation of people that this might be commonplace for them, and to us will be the old grumpy guys like, I don't understand. You're out of concert, but you're sitting on your sofa, like, you know.
There's there's a point where they say, that she disappears into a million pixels. Now that's something that's not unexpected for Imogen Heap to do.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing with the Icelandic artist. What's her name?
Bjork.
Bjork. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Her music is good though.
Strange but awesome. And that was Polymatic.link/LM. I don't know. It might be a way. This might be an application that is what might be more commonplace than we realize. This is also, I think, Vox or The Verge. They're starting to do like internalize series, and so this is like a series that covers topics of music.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So next one is Overwatch, a Diva animated short. They recently were at Gamescom and they released this short. So Polymatic.media/LB.
You really like a lot of Overwatch shorts.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll check it out though. Okay, so this one was just sort of out of left field. Keep in mind that I think they're joking more than legitimately putting on a show. The catering show. Mexicana Fiesta. Festina. I'm not even
at the
gonna...
faucet, I just gave up. I was like, I cannot handle these two. This is just too.
I stayed with it because I'm like, I want to see where this train wreck goes. Polymatic.link/LM.
It's definitely fake. It's definitely a fake thing because it's just like a show. Right?
Yeah. But I think it's also them making fun of all these kind of shows. So Polymatic.link/LN as in Nancy.
Yeah. Okay. So next one is Winter Cartoon Wednesdays. I've shared this guy before, but he recently made a video making a crank handle for the marble machine. He's like building a giant.
The Winter Garden.
Yeah. So he made a crank handle, and the video editing on this is so good. It's like the music and then the video. It's really, really well done.
Yep. He does. They do some really interesting things.
Yeah, go check this video out. It's very cool. There's like Casey Neistat level stuff in there. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Polymatic.link/LC for that.
Yeah, they never not produce anything quality as far as I recall. And everything is fairly pretty amazing, and like, look what they did. So when people are like, oh, I gotta top the thing I do next time, like when you're doing extraordinarily large, interesting things. Yeah, this is an example of you can't top them so much as they barely even achieve topping themselves, because they always do very intricate, very well organized, interesting things. But I don't know. I'll watch that video. That's Polymatic.link/LC. All right. So the truth about Model 3 Tesla batteries. This is a part 1, and you'll see somewhere in the sidebar or whatever where links to part 2. I thought it was interesting. It gives me insight how they're different.
I thought the title was a little bit, the truth about, like there's something to hide, right? So
no, they're just telling you how the battery packs work and how they're different compared to the other Tesla battery systems. Yeah. Polymatic,
but taking it, they made a deliberate choice to name it this.
Oh,
right?
sure, bait.
This is like
click.
their clickbait thing.
I watched part 2 first, and that's where I got into the real technology. So I'm starting you guys out with part 1, but I was very satisfied with what the information I got and how it's different with part 2. Polymatic.link/LO. As in low. Hopefully not your batteries are not low in charge.
Okay, next one is the Circuit Bent Bible. There is a Bible that play a recording, like an audio book version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Has like buttons, and you can look up specific passages. But this guy, Look Ma No Computer or something is his channel name. The guy just he circuit bends everything. He has an organ of Furbies.
Yes, that's a video I've seen. Oh, that's disturbing.
It's disturbing.
Didn't we share that? I think one of us shared that at some point.
Showed up. Anyway, so this guy is just so he circuit bent a Bible because he was challenged to it by Deadmau5. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so Polymatic.media/LD for that. Have fun.
Okay.
He called it making it available for people with a more avant-garde persuasion. Yep.
That's a description. Okay, so this one's nothing. I'll leave it at that. Polymatic.link/LP.
Yeah.
And by nothing, I mean that it's a video to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely a video to watch. Okay,
Polymatic.link/LP.
So next ones are two videos. MBKHD did an interview with Elon Musk. Then he did a factory tour where Elon Musk just poofed and disappeared into nothingness because he had to go to a meeting. So Polymatic.link/LE and LF.
And surprisingly, Marquez got 2% of his day.
Which is surprising, yes.
Pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, pretty awesome, yeah.
It makes me want to buy a Ronin S as soon as I swap out the camera body. Yeah. I mean, I think I always wanted to buy a Ronin S, but DJI finally came to play, so that's good. Did you hear about the Maverick 2 Pro in Zoom drones?
No.
Oh, yeah, they're brand new from DJI. I think I totally want the Pro.
Do you need it? That's the question.
Yeah, you're right. At this point in time, I really don't. I can live without it. I really can. So, and that money rather is better in the pocket of Tesla as a deposit or as in loan money.
Next.
So anyhow, this one I thought was a pretty good video by Hank Green, Hank's Giant Robot Suit. It describes a thing that I think I totally identify with, and he put words. He made a video, and he took someone else's words, and he wrapped his own thoughts around it, and I thought it was a pretty good video. Polymatic.link/LQ, and this is sort of, I guess, the phenomenon of how we think of ourselves, how other people perceive us on the internet or in social groups or in hierarchies. And I thought it was a very insightful way to describe this. From his perspective, he does have followings because he's a known element on the internet and in social media and in YouTube atmosphere and in VidCon world. And so he's definitely a known element across a multitude of areas of the world, genres. So because of that, his robot suit is clearly bigger than a lot of people's. And so his perspective on it, I think he offers a very unique insight from his own experience.
Yeah. So he has a podcast with his wife called Delete This.
I've been listening to it because of you.
Very entertaining.
I love it, actually. Don't at me. That's why I know I understand.
Forget about it.
It doesn't matter.
So whenever they
I never heard the show.
So whenever they go to the end of that show, where they say, and Catherine, forget about it, because she doesn't want to put her Twitter on there.
That's totally not what I was doing.
No, it's completely no. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It was totally not what I was doing. So I've been unknowingly reminding John of the podcast. And it's funny. I love it. I enjoy it, actually. It's pretty good.
They've been doing pretty good stuff. They're pretty entertaining.
Him and his brother also.
I've also been listening to Hello Internet with CGB Grey and Brady.
No, I hadn't gotten there yet.
I forgot his name. But they have one of their first episodes they talk about the genre of two dudes stalking, and I was like, this sounds familiar.
Yeah, but that's like every podcast.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point of the joke.
Yeah. And I listened to last night show 11 of OG, and boy, I see what the pool was for people back then, even in show 11. Crazy, right? Crazy. And sometimes when you just move on through your world, you just forget about these things. You just that was my dynamic back then. It still is my dynamic with people, except we're a little bit more focused today, which probably is to the bemoan
not this
of
podcast
a
though.
lot of people.
It's kind of not that this podcast though. It's totally
different.
Totally mess.
Alan,
anyway, so the giant robot suit was Polymatic link /LQ for that.
Yeah.
Hank's giant robot suit.
Yeah.
Okay, next one is TV is Dead. It's a spoof of the This Is America video. It's very well done.
Okay.
It's called TV is Dead by Lenny Henry. It's very entertaining.
Watch
Polymatic
it
link /LG.
LG. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Not a phone.
So this is not meant to be another like Tesla promo thing, but this does talk about the side conversation about city-sized battery technology, and batteries in general. Talks about different kind of chemical makeups of batteries and the conversation about it, and how I know that Tesla has been deploying in areas of the world where there's not a lot of power and whatever, solar plants and battery installation systems in places. I even think even in Puerto Rico, to be helpful, not to be profitable so much. And so this is occurring a little bit more often in parts of the world that didn't have a direct connection or nearby connection to a power plant, and it is helping. It's helping, and so this is just a conversation piece about technology. I think it's again a Vox or a Verge video, where so they're deep diving a little bit. I thought it was fairly worthwhile of knowing about, even if it's totally not your thing and you're not going to be driving around in a Tesla anytime soon or any kind of electronic vehicle. But this isn't about that. This is about powering societies that instead of powering them by nuclear fission or coal or gas or something else that's expensive to the environment. Polymatic.link /LR. And this is not me pushing any environmental agenda. It's just sharing info.
Yeah. Speaking of pushing an agenda, Wheezy Waiter did a video. His videos have been getting a lot better recently.
They've getting weird, which I like it. I like the weird Wheezy.
They also like the weird Hank Green when he did the video about the wolf monster thingy.
Yeah.
Don't llama. Yeah. So anyway, so he did a video about haul videos. Polymatic link /LH for that. It's very entertaining, very funny.
Yeah, Wheezy Waiter is generally entertaining. He makes something out of very little, and that's his power. That's his superpower. Okay, so that was Polymatic.link /LH. Well, this is another series, and I think this is also, again, combo of Verge, Vox. I think it's Verge, where Grant Imahara, you might know him from Mythbusters and various geek things. They're doing a series, and this is the first episode, where they're sort of in Austin, Texas, in the U.S., building sort of a home of the future filled with all the things. And so they're talking about sort of green technologies and smart home technologies. And, someone like myself or John, we look at this and we go, oh, we've already employed these very inexpensively. Or I looked at their smart home technology and I'm like, you could probably do that for less and a little better if you did this, this, and this. But regardless, I thought it was kind of interesting. They're building a home of the future. And I think they're giving it away. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do with it, but it's not like Grant's moving in, as far as I understand. So that's Polymatic.link /LS, as in Sammy, as in smart.
So there is there used to be a TV show a long time ago. Like it is like I think it's like 1980s on the Dutch TV called
Hmm.
The House of the Future, but in Dutch, like Huis van de Toekomst.
Hmm.
It was by a guy with a very interesting beard. Um, it looked like one of those beards that people from the Pennsylvania Dutch have. I think that's what they
Oh,
do.
you're talking about the Amish?
Yeah. It's like one of those beards that goes like around no mustache.
Hmm.
So he had one of those beards. I think he died recently, but that guy, he had a very big accent because he was like from the southern part of the Netherlands, which for the size of the country, you have a lot of accents. But the guy, he had like a way of talking, about the future and stuff, and like mobile phones and stuff in that show. It was very entertaining. I think I'll try to find a link for next episode. But it reminded me a lot of this. But this, of course, is more produced and more, yeah, more American, shall I say? I mean, houses, building them prefab in that way. It's like, yeah, we've done that for years. We just bring in the parts, but we
Mm-hmm.
build them out of concrete. We
Yeah,
don't build them out of wood.
yeah. So that's the weird thing here in the U.S. They build a lot of things out of wood because it's cheap, it's economical. Even though they really charge a lot for houses around here. Um,
For a wooden house.
and so I think if you came up with the right kind of prefab situation, you could probably assemble a pretty awesome house. And I'm generally curious about like the tiny house movement, but it's more evolved into I'm never going to buy a tiny house because I couldn't set up a podcast studio. Like I need some actual room for me to breathe.
You
I
just buy
can't.
another one.
But I don't. I totally understand the idea of living with what you need, not
No,
in
but
abundance.
these houses are not small, right?
Right. Yeah, and so the point that I was getting to is because I follow whatever that I know they're like fair companies or something like this. Every once in a while, I'll share one of their videos
Yeah,
where they share something
Adam Savage
intriguing.
had something untested as well, like that.
But the point that I was getting is I've seen because of their videos and their channel, they share where people have taken containers, shipping containers, and retrofitted them, and then made reasonably large sized like mansions out of them.
Yeah.
And they're just amazing inside, and they have flooring and everything, and that you could build with less, for less, that is tougher than a wood house, right?
Yeah, no, basically anything is tougher than a wood house.
Yeah. Um,
That's what I wonder, right? So when I look at like the tornado damage and stuff like that, I'm like, and then the whole building aspect in the U.S. is like wooden houses, um, cabling above the ground is not like it's like not like the entire country is an earthquake area. And in an earthquake area,
Yeah.
I might understand it, but then again, that it doesn't shear cables that much, right? So putting stuff underground is usually better because it takes away any chance of somebody getting electrocuted by some
Mhm.
cable dropping, or
Yeah.
or when something blows through. A concrete house is gonna last longer than a piece of wood, right?
And in newer neighborhoods, especially when a developer gets an opportunity to build quality houses and sets of living, everything is underground. That is happening. There's none of these dangling wires anywhere. There's been new building development in the last, I don't know, 5 or 7 years around here, and they've built new apartments and complexes, and like even townhomes, and everything is very much underground. Where I live, there's only wires at the street level, but all our houses here, everything's underground.
Yeah.
There's nothing is dangling from whatever, but in this little
Well,
pocket
it's
of
still
an
coming
area,
over a large area of,
sure,
above
yeah.
ground.
And there is a ton of above ground stuff, and the reason given is usually related to maintenance. It's easier to get to it,
Well,
but
and
in the same
if the
respect,
ground is usually mostly rock, then I can understand it. But
yeah.
it's not.
In my way to work, they put a bunch of pipelines down for gas and whatever and electric, and they were just they literally, you could see that they took this site off the side of the road, and they basically dug down into the ground underneath the road, and then right near my work, it popped out. There's another. They cleared out a whole nother area, and you can see this is where they keep all the pipes. And then they literally drilled like a good mile under the ground to the other side to lay down all their new infrastructure right underneath the road. And the houses, and didn't disrupt the neighborhood at all. And they popped out in like a few months on the other end, and they, they're keeping everything underground. So we're starting to develop a society, at least around here in the U.S., where this is happening a little more often than most people realize. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Interesting how the cultures are different.
Okay, next one is a Russian astronaut is uploading stuff to YouTube. So Polymatic.media/LK. He has some interesting videos on there, mostly Russian, but you can turn on the subtitles. Yeah. Works pretty well. He recently had a video about receiving a package of the Americans' foods. So he was like looking at the food and trying them out. I don't think he tried it out on video. But he was going to say he's going to eat well this week or something like that.
Oh, anyway, because he had one.
Yeah, so he had one of them. So Polymatic.media/LK for that.
Gaia. He was probably having a double meal package. Okay, so seltzer. I don't know if I shared this video. I think I had this in my link list for a while. I guess when there's a lot of different water companies happening. Seltzer is sort of an old-timey thing. It hasn't gone away. I'm Jewish, so most Jewish families of an older age drink like seltzer. My father likes seltzer. It's sort of an age-old thing for me. It's nothing new. But it's never really been my thing, but it is a thing. And this is just a video on how seltzer took over America. Or is, I guess, taking over America. I guess there's a comeback, apparently. Polymatic.link/LT. What are you holding up?
A bottle of spa water.
Oh, I can see it. Is it seltzer?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it's mineral water.
Yeah, I've been drinking mineral water, and there's a difference between the two. Seltzer is not necessarily mineral water.
It's disgusting.
It depends.
It depends on your preference, I guess.
Yeah, there's Pellegrino. I will get it occasionally, and I kind of like it. But the carbonation, I will say, has helped like over the years, especially when I was a kid, to eat stuff, and the carbonation definitely had helped me. And when I stopped drinking soda, I totally removed it from my life. And so I guess if I want to add it back without adding sugar and whatever bad stuff into my system, seltzer is a good way of doing it, or mineral water. Could be a good way of doing it. So that was Polymatic.link/LT.
Okay, one more video for me. It's the Ashara Warbringer video. Now Ashara is one of the legendary queen of the night elves. The high elves, basically.
Yeah.
And in the lore, she died. Well, got dragged to the bottom of the ocean when something blew up, and she tried to save her people, and then she got turned into something else by something bad. So Polymatic.link/LW, very interesting video for them.
Okay.
Another Blizzard video, second one.
I know you like them. All right, we're on to music.
Yep, another one from me. So next one is Yu Utsu, Sun. Very entertaining. Well, entertaining. It's good music. Polymatic.link/LI.
Okay.
And Monument Valley 2 has some good music by Todd Baker. Impossible Worlds. Polymatic.link/LJ for that.
Okay. So I have an artist here that I don't even know if I've ever seen a picture of this artist. I just have this person's albums. And this person, I don't know exactly the history on Zed. I don't know if they're a producer or they're just generally a remixer or just a DJ or maybe a combination of all of those things that I just mentioned. But Zed happens to kind of cross over with other artists that aren't necessarily electronica or EDM or any of that. And so most of the time you get to see this interesting combination happen of a unique song that's happening for Zed as sort of the musician artist project, and an artist completely out of their element, singing and performing a completely new song, this sort of crossover thing. And I've seen this before, and I saw this a lot in J-pop. There was a guy named M-Flow would do this. He would cross over with other sort of developing artists coming up. Already had his own sort of established sort of pseudo hip hop or rap career, and he would do sort of collabs or features with other artists that were like completely dramatic or sentimental, or it would be like Celine Dion featuring in Zed, and they would come together and make a really awesome electronic pop electronic song. So Zed, that's it. That's what Zed does. And Clarity is one of the great songs, for example, that brought me to them. The Foxes are sort of alternative kind of rock, dramatic, kind of sentimental pop is the thing. They're more sappy than like Paramore, right? And so they did a collab, I don't know, several years ago, and Clarity is an awesome song, and you can go, this will link you to their YouTube channel, but Polymatic.link/LU, that is not the video Clarity. This is just the latest one, and I don't know, I have all the albums. I don't have any of the latest songs, but I like them. I really did. And I listened to I guess LA Doohey, but clearly this is not her kind of format. So
I've heard this song on the radio before. So
have you?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. It's new to me. I find Zed songs by my own personal discovery, and so Polymatic.link/LU. I generally recommend Zed. Period.
Okay.
And I've listened to their stuff a lot.
The video for this is weird, creepy.
Yeah, well, check out some of the other videos.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I won't spoil it, but if you're sensitive to violence or something like that, you probably shouldn't watch it.
But the music's good.
Yeah, the music is good.
And I would check out Zed in general, especially if you can find a Clarity video featuring Foxes. Okay, so I don't even know, John, you might... Pamplemousse?
I've seen this before. It's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, it's an oldie but a goodie. I chose an older video from them because they seem to be doing sort of these cover mashups.
This is the guy that runs Patreon.
Patreon, yeah. This is sort of his group, and I think this is his studio. So Polymatic.link/LV. The reason that it was brought to my attention at all as by them in general was because I followed Tessa Violet, and she's been sort of promoting or she's going to release a new album this year or maybe next year. I don't even know what the course of that is, but she released a single from it somewhere, I think back in May or June. I don't even know, called Crush. And I shared that, I think, here. And so she did a crossover with them. So I thought that was interesting. And I was like, oh, I recognize that guy. That's the founder of Patreon. I was like, oh, okay. I've seen that other video. Oh, that's just, to me, so connected. So anyhow, I thought it was, the kind of stuff they're doing is neat.
They did the video with a projector.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's why I chose this one, because it was interesting as a video. Yeah. That was Polymatic.
I think there's even like a making of like how they did it. Like they showed like the projector and stuff, how they mapped everything.
You can check that all out on their channel. But for right now, this is a recommended subscribe. I don't know if they're putting out albums, but they are doing interesting music work. Yep. Covers and mashups and stuff that are unique. Polymatic.link/LV, like Las Vegas.
And we're leaving Las Vegas. So Where can they find you, Alan?
You can find me on Twitter at CHAESS if you want. You can also follow me on Mastodon. I'm sort of reactivating that activity. Alan as my first name, ALAN, at JAWS, actually WNS.club. I'll explain that some other day.
Great. Okay, so you can find me on Twitter, WebDevy, WEBDEVVIE. I'm also on Mastodon, but I have no idea how to find people there. So for feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. Music in this episode is by Say Unz, which you can find at polymatic.com/EK. Twitter is The Polymatic. Our website is Polymatic.media, and I hope you tune in next time.